Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Alaikum salam. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all,
Good morning.
I hope all is well. Good morning. So today we have another element, number 9, work equipment. It's a day 8. And within this element number 9, we have few objectives, like we're gonna understand the general requirements for work equipment, how we're gonna manage our work equipment, what are the key general requirements, and most importantly, as discussed earlier, from element 5 to element number 11, we'll be just discussing hazards and their controls, along with some precautions or in shape of administrative controls indeed. That means the hierarchy of control and identification of hazard, and against each hazard, the risk assessment. That is the key agenda for element number 5 up to element number 11. And this study will be helping us to complete our IG2 risk assessment project, especially to submit in NEBOSH UK. And we can also discuss about some of the mechanical or non-mechanical hazards. And yes, we'll explain the main control measures for reducing risk from machinery hazards. So ultimately, we have 5 major objectives of this element number 9. So let's start with 9.1, general requirements for work equipment. Look at the picture. There are different types of work equipment, like simple hand tools or handheld power tools, or we're gonna have some single machines or mobile work equipment. Even yesterday we discussed some of the equipments, and machine assemblies as well. Now, for all, what is more important is the suitability. As per our task and environmental conditions, the suitability is a key. That means the work equipment should be carefully selected to ensure it is appropriate for the task and environment and conditions. That means selection is important here. How are we gonna decide which tool would be perfect for completing any kind of task, could be technical, non-technical, simple, or even complicated, and under which type of environmental conditions or even kind of environmental aspects we have to complete that task. Now, most importantly, employers in Europe and UK have to ensure that any equipment they purchase for work has a CE mark and complies with European standards. Now, if we talk about Saudi Aramco, they might, they like more maybe FM approved or UL enlisted equipments instead of CE mark, but still in Europe and UK, this CE mark is still credible, because CE mark means kind of a protection mark, means your tools or equipment are manufactured as per European regulations. Otherwise, we have FM, factory mutual, or UL enlisted means underwriters laboratories. So EU Machinery Directive 2006-42 EC, manufacturers are required to meet the essential health and safety requirements. That means they have to prepare kind of a technical file for each product, and fix a conformity mark like CE mark. Provide a written declaration of conformity that this product will not be harmful, in that sense for intended use. Provide written information on hazards, risks, safe use, and maintenance of equipment. Like if you're gonna buy any mobile or any kind of equipment, you will see either UL or FM or CE mark, but mostly you will see CE mark. That means this product is manufactured as per as European regulations, and the declaration of conformity is there. And most importantly, it is implemented in UK as supply of machinery like safety regulations 2008. Now, how are we gonna prevent the access to dangerous parts of the machinery? Because access to the dangerous parts is prevented, movement of dangerous parts is stopped like through fixed guards. And these fixed guards, you just need to make sure, because sometime I noted personally, you just had a fixed guard, but unfortunately later on it is a big trouble because you are unable to access several areas of the machine. So fixing the fixed guard, you truly have to have a detailed evaluation, before, even though it's a part of the design feature, or later on sometime we fabricate some solutions, we purchase machines and we try our level best to have local fabrication, and after our risk assessment we realize, oh, some of the parts still need some fixed guards, or maybe some openable guards as well. Other guards and protection devices could also be installed in protection appliances. And in the main domain, we required information, instruction, training, and supervision to the extent that is practicable. Yes, there must be some restrictions to use, like the use is restricted to only trained and competent operators. Like if you have a forklift, even though you know how to operate, but you are not trained, you are not certified, you can't prove that you are a certified forklift operator, then why you are operating forklift? Same way, you never use a drill machine and you're not authorized for, you're not trained for, then why you are using it? So to be very honest, mostly as a trainer, as a consultant, what we suggest to the companies, train your employees and even give them a clear instruction that don't do anything you are not trained for, you are not authorized for. Even we can put one circular everywhere, please, if it is not your job, don't do it. If you're not trained for, you're not authorized for, don't do it. Like if you're not authorized to operate a crane, don't operate, because you're not authorized. Even you are certified, even you have third party certification with you, but you are not authorized from the company management, from the safety department. Still, you have no authority to use. That means the machine authority kind of a certificate or allocation of machine with some authorization must be in writing that this machine number 99 can only be operated by these two operators, and these are their name and IDs. I'm not telling that one machine should only be operated by one person. Even one machine you can authorize maybe 3 different people, but make sure they're trained, they're certified, and you truly need them, like for rotation, or is kind of your company requirement. But the key point is they have to be highly specialized, and surely they understand the range of hazards, and maintenance of work equipment restricted to trained and competent persons. Also, the maintenance is more technical activity. So again, the maintenance technician or kind of other staff members relevant to that particular job must be trained enough, must be certified. Now, few more things. That means the information, instruction, and training provided for work equipment users like low risk equipment, and we have high risk equipment. Now our risk assessment would also be giving the whole picture of all the equipments, who is more risky or who's less risky, And low risk equipment means you can read instructions, and high risk equipment, formal training, check effectiveness. Like if you purchase a mobile, so you can easily read instruction and start using because you believe it's a low risk equipment. But if you're buying a crane and you just have a booklet or kind of a operational manual and you start operating, no. You need formal training, and also the effectiveness must be verified. And the managers and the maintenance staff to minimize risk to understand maintenance requirements as well. No, users of work equipment should only operate equipment they are authorized to use, like we discussed earlier. Operate equipment in accordance with instruction and training. Only use equipment for its intended purpose. Carry out safety checks before using equipment. The regular common safety rules we already implemented, and I hope you guys are much better than even NEBOSH theories, I would say, because you are more experienced, so you have role modeling documentation well implemented, and your guys are quite familiar what to do. Like before using anything, surely they'll be checking, they must have some safety checks, a kind of pre-use inspection checklist, for everything, including tools, equipment, even rigging and lifting, lifting gears or several other things. Yes, not use equipment if it is unsafe and report defects immediately. Not use equipment under the influence of drugs or alcohol because it's illegal also, especially in Saudi Arabia. Keep equipment clean and maintained in safe working order. Keep equipment clean and maintained in safe working order. No, this, let me share one practical scenario here, because sometimes you have the best operators, but they don't like to clean the machine, I repeat again, they are expert in how to operate that particular equipment or tools, but they don't like to clean it. They think it's kind of a janitorial job, so they start ignoring, cleanness. And on the other side, if company management gonna give some pressure, then they'll just do it, but as a formality. They'll not do any sort of proper cleaning, or even hidden areas would be truly ignored, like deep cleaning would also be missed, maybe on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, as per the regular maintenance schedule or something like that. So, because the experienced operators, what they believe is our knowledge is so much technical, so the company have no other contingency plan, so they can't remove us. And this is how, sometimes they don't accept kind of your instructions to clean the area or to clean the machine or keep your area in certain order, in proper, away from, and no unnecessary items shouldn't be there actually within that area. But they don't accept those additional responsibilities by heart. That's my question. Like by heart, they don't accept the additional. They believe these are additional headaches for them, while they are expert for operating this machine. But the rest of the things must be done by a helper or maybe a janitorial staff. So, but the problem with that, if machine is so much expensive and sensitive also, and the cleaning is being done by a helper or maybe a janitorial staff, this machine would be in trouble, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Because if an expert is required to run the machine, again an expert is required to clean the machine. But what I mean is sometimes it's hard to convince them, and I'm sharing even my personal experience, because when I was working as a QHSC manager, with Olayan Group, Some of the manufacturing companies are also there. Whenever we go there and we see some hidden areas are not cleaned, and a lot of dust and oil accumulated, especially in hidden areas, and the machine truly in trouble. It's not being maintained well and no deep cleaning. And when we talk to the operator, they say, look, I'm always busy to produce the things. I don't have time to clean the machine. One excuse. Second, it's none of my job. Second excuse. Third, tell the helper to clean the machine. Why you are telling us that we have to clean it? So this kind of challenging environment sometimes we face. But yes, if company leadership can convince them, and they, even before hiring them, before issuing the employment agreement, they can put that responsibility in their JDs or in employment agreement also, in offer letter even, that you are not only responsible to operate the machine, even you are responsible to clean, to maintain it, and make sure it is free from dust, free from any dust accumulation in the hidden areas, and free from any issues. And those issues must also be reported immediately to the maintenance team if any issue he observed and he can't resolve it. I hope it will give you some practical insights. And yes, because of VIP culture, because of kind of, we call in Pakistan like state culture, we don't want to do small things. But as a professional, the first part is you have to be humbled. If you are a machine operator, you should love your machine. Like you purchased a car and you truly want to keep it neat and clean, and you try to manage, even every day you clean some of the areas by yourself, even because you love that car and it is helping you to move on here and there, and you have a much better life. Same way, if a machine is allocated to a machine operator, okay, he will not love probably, but at least should start giving some care, because ultimately he is responsible. If anything happened to that machine, the overall company would be affecting, and the production will go down. And of course, a deadly impact to customer satisfaction, because you can't deliver your products on time. So the behavior of the machine operators truly need to be humbled, positive, and acceptability level must be there, that okay, my area, my responsibility, my machine, my responsibility to maintain, rather than giving excuses, all the time. No, not use equipment if it is unsafe, and report defects immediately. And some of the machine operators, I personally noted, they hate to report, you know, until they can manage by themselves. If small issues are there, they believe we can manage because this is our baby. So every day we know how to give care to that machine. So they will not report to the maintenance. But sometimes those small issues, again, creating a terrible impact in the later stage. And then the maintenance team gonna tell, oh, why you didn't inform us before? But convincing our operators to inform, on time or immediately is another challenging area, I would say. But probably not for your company. I'm sharing my experience. Even the operation manager or the production manager, they were fully authoritative, but still sometimes operators were more arrogant and they were more proudy, because they believe this machine can only be operated by themselves, no contingency plan, no other operator available. No, not use equipment under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Keep equipment clean and maintained, safe working order. So all four last points are more important. Now, maintenance requirements. We have some maintenance regimes like planned preventive maintenance, and the most neglected area, again, especially in manufacturing, because they believe if we will go for planned preventive maintenance, maybe for 1 day or maybe for 2 days, or maybe sometime for 1 week, it depends on the nature of the machine or the size of the machine. So they would be reluctant to go for planned preventive maintenance. And what would happen if you ignore your preventive maintenance plans or you don't follow them? Even though you are getting production every day, you are not losing the time, but a time will come, a sudden breakdown, and probably now the machine would be stopped maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 1 month sometime. And then you realize why that preventive maintenance plan is important to follow. And especially like, we can give an example of car engine oil. If you don't change the oil, after a certain, like maybe 3,000 kilometer or something like that, what would happen, even to your car? So schedule at regular intervals must be followed, first of all. Conditions-based maintenance means vehicle brakes pads and following routine inspection. And breakdown maintenance means emergency repairs. But let me repeat again, the planned preventive maintenance is the most neglected area, I'm telling you, especially in manufacturing industries. Because the operation of the production department, they think we are the revenue generators. And they don't let anyone to stop the machine, until the machine is totally fed up and have a terrible breakdown, then they have no other option. And after that, everyone gonna realize, oh, we must go for planned preventive maintenance, and the plan is there, we must just follow it. I'm sharing again live examples, practical examples, how people can behave. Because as a business owner, you can't check everything, you can't watch them 24 hours. But remember, maintenance is often a high risk activity. Okay, so what it is about maintenance work that increases the risk? Like, how many risks are there associated with the maintenance process? Can you highlight something in the chat box? Maintenance process risk. Can you highlight whatever is coming in your mind? And why I'm asking, we have to complete this activity. The reason is there is a very clear purpose of risk assessment, of any maintenance process, because we really want to identify the risk associated with that particular equipment. It could be any equipment, could be your crane, your forklift, your other heavy equipments, or might be some machines. And of course, we truly need to make sure, it is not like bringing some more risk, because it's a non-routine activity. And sometimes while performing maintenance, people face terrible consequences. Might be some hot surfaces over there, so a lot of risk are involved actually for this. And maybe sometime isolation or lockout tagout is not done effectively. So please share some of your insights, because even though it's unusual work and non-routine task, especially in abnormal operating conditions. And sometimes our maintenance team, what I personally noted, if a machine is we purchase the new machine, maintenance team surely required some time to understand, so they are not fully familiar how to conduct the maintenance. And always it's hard to go for third party, because mostly companies, they try their level best to manage their machine maintenance through their internal maintenance teams. Yes, Mr. Muhammad Al Ghamdi, we can consider, it's kind of a non-routine, unusual work. That means abnormal operating conditions. And yes, there would be some increase the risk and non-normal operations and routine and if it is highly automated, then it would be typically diminishing the likelihood of human error, but that would be so expensive. The more high-tech solutions you want in your machines, more expensive, that means more budget you need. And most importantly, you still have no idea, like bringing latest technologies. That means you are bringing a lot of hazards, which you truly need to understand. And especially our maintenance team, that is why sometimes they need more time. Nowadays, technology is booming up every day drastically, things are coming. Like you are purchasing one machine today, and maybe after 2 years, a latest model is there, and the previous one is going to be absolute very soon. So what are the maintenance requirements? Since it's a risk-based activity, so during maintenance, staff at greater risk because guards and enclosures removed, safety devices removed or disabled, equipment partial completely dismantled, power sources exposed, and even stored power releases like compressed spring or access could be awkward, and manual handling heavy parts. Additional hedges mean could be power tools and pressure to get the equipment running quickly. I told you now, operations or production department, they believe we are the only revenue department. We are the money generators, So they'll put a lot of pressure on maintenance also, do things as quick as possible. And we want to run that equipment or machine, And this is another hazard. Now, what additional precautions during maintenance work? Make sure you have competent staff and power sources are well isolated and locked off. Stored power leads or secured or cover live parts with insulating material. Use additional PPs. If it's dangerous for moving parts or access, run at very low speed and fit purpose-made maintenance guards also. Precautions for safe access and use manual handling aids as well. So these are some of the requirements for maintenance. Now, how are we gonna control an equipment and what environmental factors are there? Let's take an example of this picture. Look at the emergency switch, stop button actually. The control should be well designed. So it's all game of design, The more safer design you have of that equipment, less will be the injuries or incidents. So control should be well designed, easy to use, suitably located, and also easily identifiable, must be in good working order and compliant with the relevant standards as well. That means the emergency stop buttons and pull codes, just an example. And remember, the equipment should be stable and have controls appropriately marked and have appropriate warning signs. And mostly I noted on the machines, these informations are faded out or sometimes just removed. And one of the manufacturers asked, why you removed a lot of information from the machine? Even the main tag on the machine, like what is the brand name or made in USA or made in Germany or, what is the capacity or something like that. And I asked him why you removed this plate, like what is the logic behind? So he mentioned confidentiality. It's our business secret. You got that point, or let me repeat again, because I'm sharing practical examples. And like one of the company, we started the project with risk assessment, and while doing risk assessment, of course, you have to give the reference like machine number, model name, brand name, made in, whatever, all things you have to note down. But what if, the plates are removed, the steel plates from the machine, if they're removed? And I asked, why, what's the logic behind? And then the manager says, sorry, I can't give even comment about it. You have to talk to our general manager. Okay, let's talk to him. And he mentioned, Ishtiyaq, look, several visitors, customers, suppliers, they normally visit, and we don't want to share with them from where we are buying machines, because if they could get all the informations, maybe after a few months they will have their own company, and we would have another competitor. And to be very honest, it was little bit shocking kind of situation for me. How come you can be so much sensitive? What if another competitor is there? You deal your customers in a way they would never even think to leave your company actually. Because in Saudi Arabia, the major trend is the relationship. If your relations are really nice with your customer and you are meeting their quality requirements or kind of productivity or delivery requirements, and you are handling their customer complaints in shape of quality or any other issues, or you are providing the best service, they would have no choice to move on with anyone, even they will pay a little extra. But yes, at some level, every businessman, he have intention to be the monopolist, that there shouldn't be any kind of competition for our products, so we can earn more profit. And now information and knowledge is everywhere. And I asked him, I can find out every sort of information in minutes. So what confidentiality we are talking about? Like if I want to see which machines we're gonna use for manufacturing plastic cups, let's take an example. I will just write, the machines relevant to plastic cups, how we're gonna manufacture, and a lot of options will be there. Maybe made in China, made in Korea, made in Germany, made in USA, and bunch of companies will be in front of me. And then he told me a very secretive story. He mentioned is that, look, we have some of the features, and those design features are our copyrights. And we, guided to the manufacturer, please add these features within our machines. And even you are not authorized to copy these features for other machines, because this is only our design copyrights. You can't sell to anyone else without our permission. Otherwise, we'll pursue you legally. So a lot of sensitivities in the business. I hope you got the point. So sometimes it's really hard, to understand the situation and making sure, because if I get the brand, I will immediately get a lot of information how to maintain this machine, how to do maintenance, several videos I can find on YouTube, maybe some more knowledge on through Google or something like that. But if I don't know the machine type or the brand name, that means the researching option is no more. Only thing is within the company, I have to find out maybe the operation manual or maybe the maintenance manual for that machine. If that is missed, then only one option to go back and talk to the manufacturer, and the maintenance from the same manufacturer, of course, would be very expensive, but even though it's good to go with the same manufacturer, but mostly companies, they try, if they have more than 100 machines, they will try to have internal maintenance teams, to manage their machines and equipment. Now the equipment be stable and have controls appropriate mark, have appropriate warning signs. Lighting should be adequate and suitable, not stroboscopic or effect environmental suitable. So stroboscopic effect, is very much important because sometimes we believe lighting is, yes, it's essential for us, it's important for us, but on the other side, the bad lighting in shape of even with terrible effects, of course it will affect to our operations, even to the maintenance process. So this is the important way to make sure that we can see and we have suitable lighting available, and environmentally must also be suitable. Space should be adequate. So that means the equipment stability, the appropriate controls have to be marked. Sometimes I notice in the machine the marking is not really good, because these are the small things where manufacturer think he can save some cost, or machine manufacturing cost. And let me give you one practical example here also, because since just I got in my mind, the space should be adequate. Like if you have more than 100 machines, and each machine have a certain level of height, width, and length also. And also you required your people to be stand in, and some of the essential, important stations you required to maintain that machine. So how much area you required for one machine? Even though it depends on the size of the machine and plenty of other factors. But let me share one practical example. The layout was poorly designed. The layout was designed for, let's take an example of 50 machines. And now because the company got more orders, they required more capacity of production. So they started thinking within the same layout, how we can put 2 more machines or sometimes 4 new machines. And bringing new machines mean the area would be more congested. The accumulative sound will go up. That means you can't meet the legal limit, 85 decibel. It would be so high. So you have to provide right set of PPs, or might be it is a terrible violation also of PME regulations, like Presidency of Environmental Metrology of Saudi Arabia. And if you are working with Saudi Aramco, the EPD, Environmental Protection Division, or even LPD, they can catch, It's not acceptable. That is why it is clearly mentioned the space should be adequate. Now, let's talk about hand tools and portable power tools. Look at the picture. Even though it's quite simple, but still, let's discuss what can go wrong, like include hammer, chisel, or screwdriver or axe. Now, what accidents can occur with handheld tools and how the tools became damaged? What accidents can occur with handheld tools and how the tools became damaged? Okay, so let's discuss only the accidents, in the chat box. What do you think? What kind of accidents can occur due to handheld tools? We're talking about types of accidents, only relevant to handheld tools. How the tools became damaged, that is a separate story we'll share later. But right now, the major concern is to understand what type of accidents can occur, because of handheld tools. I'll share one incident with all of you, and might be it will give you some insight, because anybody can have suicidal attempt, because if you have knife, if you have axe, even the hammer, sometime if there is a fighting between two employees, even the same handheld tools they can use for this particular personal war, even at your job site. If they're not used for intended purpose, again, or if you are using them with more speed, which is kind of a human nature to do things as quick as possible, that means kind of a shortcut. Like in one of the company, two guys fought to each other. A terrible debate was there, and later on management got involved, and everything was made relaxed. So the environment was like there isn't any problem, but and that company was have tendency, the moment you are working 12 hours, you have two options: either you want to go back to home, or you want to sleep there. Like if you want to have more extra overtime, like 2 or 3 more hours, so you have option to sleep even within the same company. It's not the case probably in Saudi Arabia, but some of the companies, of course, in Saudi Arabia, you can find they have working hours more than 12 hours, sometime. And people are ready, especially the expatriates or the non-Saudis. They love to work because they are there to make money, to be very honest, for their family, for their own survival. What I mean is, even the environment was relaxed, the fight was finished, everything was cleared to every mind, and no issue should be there. Now, one gentleman, was sleeping, and the other one, he just got one axe. This axe we use for breaking some kind of chains, or some kind of we use it for fire protection systems, actually, even to break the glass at some level, the door or the windows, or even breaking locks of the door sometimes. And he just took that axe and directly hit on the neck, and he cut the neck. And then the company realized, instead of axe, why can't we put a small hammer? So little dangerous, but still it's another tool. And then several incidents happened because of horseplay. Can you catch it? And you have knife, or you have hammer, or you have some axe or some other tools. Can you catch it? Maybe a plier even. And it's directly hitting to the eye or maybe to the face, because he couldn't catch it properly. And sometimes if a person is not emotionally intelligent, and he's under terrible tensions, or kind of domain is there, so might be he can attempt suicide also by using these tools. And these tools are of course unavoidable, because we also need them for completing some processes. But how are we gonna keep an eye on that no one is misusing all these tools? Otherwise, several accidents can happen. The main point of hazards are, tool may shatter, first of all, handle may come loose. Sometimes you just jerk, and the handle is loose, and tool may be blunt, require excessive force, and human error like hit thumb and with hammer, misuse, wrong tool for the job also. These are some of the hazards. How are we going to control them? Tools suitable for the task and environment of use, information instruction training. We truly need to give visual inspection of tools, and substandard tools repaired or discarded. Maintenance of tools and supervision of practices. So even though these are common things, but still we have to have more vocabulary and refresh our understanding, about hazards and controls. Now, hazards and controls for portable power tools, some of the high risk because forces are greater, meaning potential for every severe injury. Additional hazards present such as electricity, petrol, noise, vibration, dust, ejected material, and trip hazard as well. Look in the picture, because so the more heavier tool you have, even in shape of portable power tools, definitely the more high risk gonna be there, like electricity, petrol, noise, vibration, dust, ejected material, and trip hazard. And we required more effective controls against power tools risk, like careful selection as per the task and the environment. Make sure we are not ignoring the manufacturer instructions or in-house rules on training and information just to ensure better competence. And yes, we required close supervision and routinely inspected repair or disposal of unsafe tools and regular maintenance by competent staff. So when I will share with you that example what I shared in the WhatsApp group for risk assessment project as an example, we will discuss, how one hazard is identified, then associated risk, and how who might be harmed are going to be highlighted, and how the risk evaluation is done, like how the formula is put in place, and later on, what are the controls actually. And whenever we talk about controls against any hazard, either you search from several online sources, otherwise you can find within your books, or this presentation would also be shared with all of you once our training will be done, inshallah. That means finding the answer is quite easy. Completing your risk assessment project is quite easy. Otherwise, the best ways, the assessment, the existing assessment of your company operations, the best way to complete your IG2 project, you can have the same risk assessment, but fill the information as per NEBOSH new format of risk assessment, and your IG2 project will be ready, inshallah, because since this is a new way, but make sure you have better practical understanding. The real purpose is not only the certificate, the real purpose is to gain the maximum practical knowledge in shape of scenario-based understanding. Now, hazards and controls for portable power tools, still we can discuss some of the requirements for safe practice. That tools used within the design specification, like disk speeds, guards and safety devices in place, PPs used, power cables controlled, ejected parts controlled and secured work area, and control of noise, dust and vibration, safe storage and handling of fuel like petrol, inspection and testing of electrical equipment as well. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, guys, just I need 2 minutes, then we'll get back. You can have 5 minutes break, okay? Thank you very much. Just 5 minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so Mr. Muhammad Al-Ghamdi, you mentioned the non-mechanical hazards associated with machine and equipment can include harmful emissions, contain fluids or gas and pressure, chemicals, chemical byproduct, electricity and noise, all of which can cause serious injury if not adequately controlled. Brilliant, mashallah. So that means these are some of the examples of non-mechanical hazards like electricity, noise, vibration, hazardous substances, ionizing radiation, non-ionizing radiation, extreme temperatures, ergonomics, slips and fall, and fire and explosion. These are examples of non-mechanical hazards. Now, in the 9.3, we have learned how to identify mechanical hazards and how to identify non-mechanical hazards. And with examples, we noted mechanical hazards and the non-mechanical hazards just we discussed in the last slide. Now it's time to have some understanding how to control, how to control the machinery hazards or what control measures we have to apply for dealing with machinery hazards, either to eliminate them or find substitute or having some engineering controls or going for administrative and also have suitable PPs, altogether hierarchy of control. Whenever we get the word control, hierarchy of control should come to in our mind. Then it would be more easier to understand. Like machinery safeguarding methods. What are the safeguarding methods? We can have fixed guards. We could have interlocked guards, adjustable self-adjusting guards, and all comes in the design phase, rather than you purchase the machine and then you conduct a risk assessment and found several safety features are missing at the machine. That's not a good approach. So in the PO, in the purchase order, in the PO, make sure you have listed all the safety features also. Okay, you are buying this machine, but we want to you have to make sure these safety features are incorporated, during the manufacturing of that machine. Let me repeat again. Imagine if you are buying a machine from USA. Once the machine is at your site, you start a risk assessment. And now you are finding what? Oh, one area we need safeguard is missed. One interlock guard is missed. One adjustable, like sensory protective equipment or trip devices are missed. Or two-hand control is missed. And what you are doing, you are highlighting through your risk assessment the design features which must be discussed proactively and incorporated while you ordered or issued the PO, the purchase order, to that manufacturer or to the supplier. Same way the emergency stock controls or protective appliances or personal protective equipment, information, instruction, training and supervision must be there. Now, what are the machinery safeguarding methods? There are 4 methods: fixed, interlocked, adjustable like self-adjusting or trip. Fixed, interlocked, adjustable and trip. These are machinery safeguarding methods. Now the fixed guards is completely prevent access to the dangerous part of the machine. Look at the example. And also or fix and place required a tool for removal. Limitation. These are some of the limitations for sure there. And if that guard is poorly designed, like might be the size is little extra, might be the sharp edges are there. That means bringing new parts or adjusting in the machine, they must be safer all the way around, rather than bringing a lot of hazards into our operations, Now, apart from the mechanical hazard, what hazards can fixed guards provide protection against? Apart from the mechanical hazards, what hazards can fixed guards provide protection against? Other than mechanical hazards, how many benefits we have for fixed guards other than mechanical hazards? How are they going to protect us? And apart from that, the mechanical hazard, what hazards can fixed guards provide protection against? Like electricity, nobody can touch any electrical connections or radiation, and hot surfaces and noise and ejecting of spark or the dust even. So fixed guards definitely save us for several other hazards. Another type we have interlocked guards. And I always encourage to the company, this guarding must be done by the manufacturer. Instead of you are doing locally fabricated guards and poorly designed, and even sometimes doesn't look at the machine, even you paint, even you try hard, but they're not, the way it should be actually. That is why, and sometimes the material quality is not as per the design features, because manufacturer is responsible to make sure whatever material is using is complying with all international standards. But yes, for cost saving, we go for local fabrication. We're gonna say sometime to the manufacturer, okay, we don't need any guard. We will locally fabricate and we will place, just make sure we have some designated knurling or hoses or holes, just to make sure we can put these guards later on. Otherwise, even that task also can be done by our local fabricators. So this is another way around to saving the cost. Like we intentionally telling to our machine manufacturer, please, we don't need guards, so reduce your machine price, because those guards we will locally fabricate and install accordingly. Now guard closed, the guard is locked shut until the machine has returned to a safe condition or the act of opening the guard stops the dangerous parts of the machine and disables power as well. Now these are some of the limitations. Can bypass the system. Persons may gain access by closing the guard around them. Need rule to be enforced, And if you have machine sensors, I noted personally, they will put tape on it. And this idea is given by the maintenance team because why they gave, they are busy with another machine. So they mentioned to the machine operator, put the tape on the sensor, so machine will not stop. While if there is any fault, the machine should stop, but since they don't want to lose the production, so, but they can ignore safety features. So they will give some shortcuts or bypassing strategies even to the operators, I'm sharing personal examples, practical scenarios, what I noted in several companies even. Now needs rules to be enforced. Now adjustable and self-adjusting guards means use when it is not possible to prevent access to dangerous parts. And we could have adjustable guard. Look at this one, set manually or range of positions by the operator. Self-adjusting guards, usually spring loaded to adjust itself to the workpiece, requires no adjustment by the operator. Now we also have some sensitive protective equipment like not a physical barrier. Use sensors to detect presence of operator and they stop the machine, and they include pressure mats, trip bars, or photoelectric devices. And of course, there are some limitations for sure. That means the more features you have, more sometimes the complications are there, especially for maintenance, especially for risk assessment. Even our understanding, it's really hard sometimes because machine is high-tech machine, and even for us, the risk assessment is not an easy job, because we need time to understand the real crux of that machine, and then we can do effective risk assessment. Now, two hand controls designed to protect the operator's hands. Controls should be more than a hand span apart, must activate at the same time. And releasing controls must stop the machine immediately, and there are, of course, some limitations for sure. Now, emergency stop controls, this is the most common feature. Almost all the machines or even the power tools have, should bring the machine to a safe stop as quickly as possible. So it's abrupt. It's not like we are pushing the emergency stop, but it's taking still taking 5, 10 or 20 seconds, to stop the machine. Then of course, those seconds would be terrible actually for, like if someone is just had finger into a flywheel, let's take an example, and you are using emergency stop button, but instead of machine stopping immediately, it's being stopped after 20 seconds. So what would happen to that gentleman within 20 seconds? I hope you got the point. So some limitations must also be understood. The release of the button should not restart the machine also. Now, let's talk about the protective appliances that mean designed to keep operators' hands away from the danger, like push sticks or jigs or clamps. We can add, so there isn't any possibility, so we can avoid hand injuries basically. That is why the protective appliances can be used, like push sticks, jigs, and clamps instead of touching with hand. Now, these are some of the specific machinery examples, hazards and control measures, like manufacturing and maintenance machine, bench top grinder, and pedestal drill. In retail machinery, we have compactor. In agriculture and horticultural machinery, we have cylinder, mower or streamer, or brush cutter or chainsaw. In construction machinery, we have cement mixer or bench mounted circular saw. So these are some of the specific machinery examples, and of course we can identify hazards and put some controls accordingly. Now I'm leaving this exercise for all of you. Choose one of the specific machines and outline the hazards, mechanical and non-mechanical control measures. Now, have you done any risk assessment of any of your machine, which you can share with some examples like mechanical, non-mechanical hazards related to that machine? Like your practical example, you can choose any specific machines. You are more knowledgeable, technically sound, but at least you must be capable how to identify mechanical and non-mechanical hazards. And we discuss a lot of examples of mechanical and non-mechanical hazards and what control measures you're going to implement. Okay, can you take an example of cutter? And please mention the mechanical and non-mechanical hazards and share some control measures also. What mechanical hazards going to be there for cutter, and same with the non-mechanical, and how are we going to control them? Take your time. You just need to highlight the mechanical and non-mechanical hazards along with some control measures. Now it's more straightforward, like specimen bench cutting machine. What you have to highlight the mechanical hazards, and then for the same machine, the non-mechanical hazards, and what controls you're going to suggest, how we will control those hazards. These are some of the specific machinery examples, hazards and control measures like bench topper grinding. We have pedestal drill or cylinder mower or streamer or brush cutter, chainsaw or compactor or cement mixer or bench mounted circle saw. So we can take some examples how they look like: bench top grinder and pedestal drill, and might be by looking that picture you can easily identify the mechanical and non-mechanical hazards. Look at the chainsaw, what can go wrong and how, even though it's agriculture and horticultural machinery. It's a compactor. And what are the requirements for the guards and safety devices? Meets the relevant standards, is critically important, strong and robust and compatible with machine operation. Even though not easy to defeat, a low V and a low ventilation, easy to maintain, designed to allow for maintenance and does not increase overall risk. Now, identify the types of guards and protective devices we discussed so far in the presentation. So, this is all about element number 8. That means we discussed the basic management issues, especially introducing the working equipment. We discussed about hazards and precautions associated with simple hand tools, portable power tools, and we also discuss in detail, about mechanical and non-mechanical hazards, and some pictorial examples are also given. And most importantly, we also discuss about fixed guards, adjustable and self-adjusting guards, and interlocked guards. We also discuss about trip devices or two-hand controls, protective appliances, and emergency stops. We also have discussed basic requirements of guards and safety devices. And we also have discussed the hazards with benchtop grinder, pedestal drills, and several other. And also the types of guard and other protection measures to ensure safety in the use of top grinders and some other tools. So we will discuss after the break the next element, inshallah, the fire. And surely we have to spare one day just to be prepared for exam. Like if we finish fire even today and then tomorrow we could have the last element, that is electricity. And what we are discussing, the hazards and the controls, of course. And the last day, I truly want to discuss, the exam preparation, like how to prepare the risk assessment project. We will discuss practically in detail, and I'll share the best practices of NEBOSH, how they are guiding us, how that IG2 project should be look like. And surely you're gonna have better marks after that if you are doing as per the guidance of NEBOSH, inshallah. And same way, we will discuss the scenario, even though I have shared the answers. So these two documents, ultimately, at the last day of the training, we will be discussing. And that would be the crux of our training, because ultimately, after this training, we have to be capable how to achieve IG1 exam, even though it's a scenario-based open book exam. Same way, IG2 for risk assessment project. And I would appreciate if you can be ready for that risk assessment project, and you can ask the risk assessment from your safety manager, or might be you have in your laptop. Just dig out and keep them in front, because on the last day, the moment we'll be discussing the real-time project, so everybody have to complete one project of IG2 at least, because IG1 I already shared how you have to answer, in line with the scenario by giving several references, even though it's open book, so you will find the answer from somewhere. But how are you gonna relate this answer with the scenario? That is more important. So after the break, we will discuss, inshallah, the fire, the next element, number 10. Okay, so far, have a lunch and prayer break and come back to 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.